Evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. I've got everything opened up here. Just a couple minutes behind what I was where I'm used to being at. Making sure everything's on. Of course, I've always got the phone on to call in. What's up, Arden? Glad you made it. Oh man, I watched my last show back. I don't have to repeat any of those episodes. The audio stayed with me the entire time. So I didn't have to memorize anything I did to try to act it back. What's up, you Bill Cooper over on Twitch? Glad to see you. Yeah, a little bit of a low-key channel update. Just that I tried to get the Buy Me a Coffee super chats paid out. And a long story short, it's given me some hassle and acting like it doesn't want to pay me. It's bad enough you don't get the full amount because I got to pay for the coffee cups. But then after they make me sign into my account and verify it's me, send me an email with the verification code that I passed, get into the site, and they're like, oh, we couldn't verify your information. So they have until Friday to figure it out. Otherwise, that's what everybody's going to hear about. I will start sending emails. Thomas, what's up? Glad you made it. Thomas Collins, hi, Nikki. Brought the Cooper woman. Oh, cool. Nice. I read that first as Copper. I just, again, clearly I do, get into Minecraft. Been watching. If I slip into an English accent, it's not my fault. All of these tutorials that I watch on Minecraft, it's like a few people. A lot of them are not good, so it's hard to find somebody who does good tutorials. Like one guy's American, but the other two maybe that I catch, they're both English, so it's not an inventory, it's an inventory. And I'm starting to say it that way in my head. Like if I say it in my head that way, it's going to slip out that way. I don't mean it. I can't help it. I'm just around it all of the time. That's why I've been saying Iron Golem. I know it's Golem, but Gray Still Plays pronounces it incorrectly as Golem. It slips out. I'm sorry. I know that's wrong, but there's that. So yeah, back to what I was saying a little bit. So I've taken Buy Me a Coffee off of there just in case. I don't want them. It's I would say easy come, easy go, but that's not it. I had to work for that money. You guys gave that money to me, so I'm pissed off about it for you guys' sake. So that's why I'm like, they've got a few days to get that website straightened out or I'm going off. And I don't care if it takes a week or two to get paid out. That's not the point. They're acting like they don't want to pay me at all. And that's all I've got coming to me. So that's awfully shady. I mean, I will crash an entire website. That's Rumble pissed me off. And that's when they crashed a couple of Junes ago. So if you want your website to crash, if you want some bad karma, literally just add water because they pissed me off when the sun's in a water sign during my lucky time of year. Rumble was down for a whole day. Yeah, that's what you get. Something like June 27th. Thomas Collins loves speaking English. Yeah, I spent a whole week over in the Netherlands, and by the end of that week, my brain was already saying words. If you ever hear English there, it's in an English accent. You don't hear American English spoken when you're across the pond. So every time you hear it, it's in British English. Even my GPS in the car was British English. I picked it up from her, so it was tomato. And I'm in my head, I'm like, whoa. Like how Bart Simpson learned French that fast. I never understood how you can learn a language that fast. But if you're just around it, like that's how I learned Scottish. So it works that way. So yeah, I don't trust Buy Me a Coffee right now. I do still have Venmo, link in the description for the channel and for the actual show. I'm not sitting here begging for money or anything. Just saying that that's open. If they straighten things out, I'll put the link back in there. But I would feel bad if somebody were to send me a Buy Me a Coffee donation. And I don't know if I'll ever get to see that. I don't want you throwing your money away at me. There's that. And then I don't have to tell you this, but I will. I got an email from my bank, something about a home equity loan. I only know what that last word meant. So yeah, I applied for it, and then the chick calls me back, and she's like, "Well, do you own your own home?" And I'm like, "Well, no." And she's like, "Well, I can see in your information here that you rent. So why did you send me that fucking email, you stupid bitch?" I didn't say that. I was just thinking it. Like, okay, this is wasting my time. She's like, "Oh, well, we can do personal loan. How much do you need?" It's like yes. And she mentioned the word 500. What is $500 going to do in 2025? I could pay maybe two bills with that and have 20 bucks left over. And that's not even like that. That wouldn't even cover all of rent. That wouldn't cover, it wouldn't cover three bills. And that's before you put gas in your car or God forbid, buy a loaf of bread or anything like that. So I just told her, I'm like, you know what? She's like, "Wait, do you own your car?" It's like, no, not even that. And what did she say? She mentioned the 500, and I'm like, and she's like, "Well, you tell me the amount you want," and I'm like, "Well, honestly, what it is, this bank wouldn't even give me a loan for the car that I do have, so I just feel like I'm wasting my time talking to you, and you know what? I'll just starve on the nothing I have now." And that was the end of the conversation. I had shit to do. I had to work today. Daddy, if $500 wouldn't do anything, where's my currency calculator? Hold on. What is uh $500 worth in 2025? Calculate. Sorry, we can't compute the inflation rate and consumer price index for this year. Please input a year after 1635 when our data begins to track the consumer price index. See, it's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. $500 in 2025 is worth about like 250 seems like too much. I want to say about 200. Um, I'm embarrassed by this, but back when I was having those seizures 10 plus years ago, before we met, I got to get on food stamps because I wasn't allowed to work. The most they would give a single person was $200. And that was, like 12 years ago. So if you had $200 to spend on food, if you can get 10 items, I don't know if you can get 10 items. So yeah, it would have been less, it would have been somehow less insulting if I would have just got a random email or a call saying, "Yeah, we know you haven't applied for anything, but we just want to let you know that you don't qualify for jack shit from this bank. LMAO, get wrecked, dial tone." Thomas says he lived. The Dutch are brilliant. The Dutch are, they have a very interesting sense of humor. Everything is completely flat. You feel like you're sitting right next to a bathtub that's going to overflow, but nothing does. It's too clean. They drive just like me. I love it. So Dandy, yeah, 500 wouldn't do anything. Want to go too? Glad you made it. Wally World, glad you're here. William Cooper says, it is difficult to leave the house without spending $50 minimum. Yeah, if you go to the store and buy two items and God forbid put 20 bucks in your car, there you go. Yeah, nothing is inexpensive anymore. The only thing getting cheaper is people. Not you guys, but you've been out in public. Yeah, we owe Bill Cooper $200 for the month for food stamps if you were a single person in something like 2012. Um, yeah, which I mean, like back then that was something. But if I were to, I haven't applied or anything like that. But if I were to apply now, I'm sure they have not raised the amount. So again, you get $200 worth of food. It is something. It's more than nothing, but you're still having to pinch your pennies as if it was just 50 bucks. Dandy, yeah, LOL, that would be more honest of them. It's like, yeah, just to let you know, we ran your information even though nobody asked. Just to let you know you don't qualify for jack shit. And on top of that, we're going to start charging you $2 a month if you do not keep your account balance at least $250 every single day of the month. If you do not keep $250 in that bank account every single day of the month, you are hit with the $2 fee every month. I don't have $250 to keep in a bank. Erica, yeah, vet bills and animal food bills are crazy. Yeah, when I my cat was still alive, I would go to the cat food store. I'd spend $200 on him, and then I would go to Walmart and spend $100 on myself. Priorities. Just saying. So I had that loan bullshit happen first, and then I did that. Try to do the payout thing. So, oh, okay, fine. Good. Good news though, I was 96 pounds yesterday. I would say I've never looked better, but I looked better in 2012. I'm not crying. I've got something in my eye. Where's my Visine? It doesn't hurt, just making everything blurry and I have to read. Uh, it's so warm too. I thought I was gonna have to sit here with my hair up, and then I decided, fuck it, stick the fans in the window and just do it with your hair down. So if my hair is looking a little bit more unfortunate than usual, I didn't braid it while it was drying. I'm just really glad I don't have to repeat my last episode. Thomas Collins, yeah, down to earth, my journalist professor in college. I'll never forget him. That's cool. Oh, somebody went live. It's Swaley. It is Mahler's birthday today. I always mention that one other YouTuber and his birthdays, and just he goes live for his birthday sometime before New Year's Day. It's today. He goes live today, and there's Puff going live. He's just playing some video game on his birthday. That's cool. I like that guy. Oh, oh, my nose is running. Who else is live? That's probably Puff. Puff goes live. Like streams normally, and then he also sets up a stream it's like portrait mode, like a short. Yeah, that's him. So, and they stream together. So if I'm suddenly getting 3 notifications in a row, that's what it was. It was one from Swaley and 2 from Puff. Went to go to set out nice hair under a nice hat. Oh, thank you. It's still there. You don't trim a dead tree, so it's not. I'm not gonna shorten it. You can't. Most of the grays are under here, which all the gray hair does on camera is just make it look thin. It's already thin, so that just makes you look bald. You can't win that way. What's up, Beach Chap? Glad you made it. Oh, oh, oh goodness! I'm trying to remember the recap that I just typed up for the what we just did on Saturday. I don't remember. I wrote it, but I can't remember this stuff. Let me look it up. Is it going to show me my own show? Possibly. I had to think about it really hard. Like, why would you want to watch this? You're doing it. Yeah, that $200 a month, that was food stamps back in 2012. We owe you, Bill Cooper. And as you're sitting there, you see these obese white women, white females. They're not women; they're just females. And then they've got these like children, and not one of them looks like the other one, and all of their clothing is brand new. But anyway, just to recap, now Bill Malloy, he went around town. This dude was on the warpath. He was the most determined person you've ever seen. He was insisting that Roger and Burke and Sam meet in Roger's office at 11 p.m. because Bill had something to say. Now we know he was telling Burke, like, hey, I can give you Roger. We can clear your name so you will get out of town, leave the Collins family alone. He just wants him to stay the hell away from Liz. So everybody shows up except Bill. And then later on that night, Victoria and Carolyn are out on Widow's Hill. You scream, they're looking down at the water, and we just see something floating face down. It's dark, but you can see the moonlight hitting it. It looks like a guy. That's all we can really tell. Like, these are black and white episodes. You can only strain your eyes so far. And yeah, now we're getting to it. Oh yeah. Things do kind of get serious when there's a body around. And again, this is a small town. It's not like murders just happen, so it's, of course, it's a big deal when anybody dies, but it's a small town. Somebody's not been seen for a day. Suddenly there's a body in the water. Ugh. Nobody wants to make that connection. So let's get into episode 53. This aired on September 7, 1966. And, oh, wait a minute. Are we? No, okay. This is a brand new day. This is day 6. And it is morning. So we are in the Collinwood kitchen. You know, it's like a proper kitchen. There's plants. There's actually light. It's the most like alive room in the house. So David's sitting there. He's eating breakfast, and he's just right away. He's got questions. So Victoria comes in, and David's like, "Oh, I heard you scream last night." And then I looked and I saw you running towards the house. And, Victoria was told, by Roger, don't tell David anything about this. So she's got to play it. She just saw a dead body. I'm sure she's shook up, and now she's got to think of a lie. So it's just, oh, I just wanted to get back inside is all. It was cold last night, And here's David. He's being creepy. They would say, someone in Collinsport will try to kill you. My crystal ball said so. And he doesn't like Victoria because he thinks she's there to take his mother's place. Like if it wasn't for Liz, Roger would beat him. Just, this kid has issues. But Liz comes in. She says that, oh, I just screw up my own. I screw up Roger and David sometimes, and it's like, why would Roger be running upstairs and saying he hates Victoria? Oh, that's just, you can't see that, but I can. So it's really weird to read back. Like, what show is this? But Liz comes in. She tells David, like, I didn't hear anybody scream last night. Because anytime something happens, David asks, "Did you hear this? Did you hear that? Did you?" He's not. Um, he's not being secretive about what the information he wants. He just immediately goes to people and asks them questions, and they're like, you didn't hear nothing. No, go to your room, whatever." So David's still putting things together. It's like, well, he saw his father leave early this morning. And the way David is so affectionate towards Liz, it really is just like his, because his mom's not in his life, so he's just projecting his feelings, his mom feelings onto her, the same way Carolyn projects her dad feelings onto Roger. So he likes Liz almost as much as he likes his mom. Glad he likes somebody. So over in the foyer, Joe Haskell's there. And there, David, he's still carrying around his crystal ball. He's still on about it. And Joe is just, he's not into the spooky stuff. He doesn't believe the crystal ball. He's more like a practical, serious, doesn't get into all this otherworldly stuff. So he just thinks that crystal ball is just a ball of glass. He said that you see what Burke Devlin wants you to see in that crystal ball. Told his ass. So in the living room, Joe was speaking with Victoria, saying how, yeah, Roger's not at his office, and still nobody has heard anything from Bill Malloy. And Victoria, that's when she tells him, she's like, well, me and Carolyn, we think we saw a dead body last night. And of course, there's David, at the door, always eavesdropping. So there Liz walks up and catches him. And of course, David heard her say a body, so we asked Liz about it. And there was no body. Just go up to your room. Shut up and go to your room, David. So he runs off. Liz goes in and joins the other two. And they're just kind of touching base. No, I haven't heard anything. Nobody's seen anybody. Just all this kind of just nobody knows anything. That's what I heard too. And they mentioned that Carolyn doesn't usually sleep this late. We haven't gotten a time yet, but it's morning. So, like, if David's lessons start at 9, let's say it's, I don't know, 7 or 8, whatever. But Carolyn's still asleep. I don't know, man. Maybe she took a downer. Arden, Harvest Full Moon is rising here. Beautiful. The last 2 nights, I've had to open the window at night to get the hot air out. And there's light hitting the fan, so I've actually got to look out there. And there's like this yellowish white circle in the sky. Like, wow, that's the moon. I know it's out there. I just don't see it all the time. But anyway, after Joe kind of touches base, hasn't heard from Bill, he takes off. And Liz gets on the phone and she just calls the cops about Bill Malloy. I guess it's time to put in an official report. It's been around 24 hours since anybody's seen him. I'd say that's long enough to, if somebody has a set schedule and suddenly they're just vanished and absolutely nobody's seen them, it's time to worry a little bit. I would be concerned. And that's her friend, too. And T, glad you made it. The moon is huge here tonight. If I knew I could see it out there right now, I would go and look, but let's see. Hold on. Skyview Light. It. I don't need premium. I'm not going to space. I can do that with drugs. Moon? Moon? Where you at, Moon? Nobody there? There it is. Okay, I don't think I'd be able to see it. Oh, Saturn. I wouldn't be able to see it there. There's, not as many trees as there used to be, but there's, I'm sure by the end of the show I could, how do I get out of this app? How do I get out? Now I'm stuck in here. Hold on. Share, no, there we go. Close, okay. It is a little bit hard to get out of sometimes, that's okay. Or no, look in the east, wherever the sunrise is, we see the full moon. It's just that, like, right over there, they cut down some trees, they tore up some trailers, then they put some trailers back in. I don't usually look over there. Plus, there's like a storage shed. I don't know if I'm not going to jump up right now, too. How's the audio? How's the audio? I'll check it after this episode. Then after that, it should be. I'll just trust it. But anyway, it's up in David's room now. He's asking Victoria about the body. So she knows that he was listening in on her and Joe's conversation, and she lets him know that eavesdropping is a bad habit. But over in the foyer, Joe comes back in. He found Carolyn's watch. It was just on the ground somewhere. Maybe he went up to a Widow's Hill, but he found it. He found it. So it's been out there all night. Oh no, it's ruined. It's been found though. It's been found. So, but Liz takes the watch from him, gets on the phone, calls Roger's office. He's still not in. But folks have been asking about Bill Malloy, and she's like, well, just tell everybody he's away on business. And leave it at that. Well, what if they ask it? Just leave it at that. And up in David's room, they're kind of doing their lessons and just talking about like the waterways, and that's how people transported goods in the early Americas, that sort of a thing. And Victoria mentions you can move anything by water. David says, even a dead man. Victoria's like, that's enough. Because he really has been stuck on this subject. And you know how kids are when they get stuck on a subject, so she's just done. William Bill Cooper, audio is fine here. Good. So in the living room, Matthew Morgan, he's saying that Roger had him walk all along the rocks with him early this morning. Didn't see anything. And then he says that Carolyn shouldn't be going up to Widow's Hill. It's not healthy. And people think Josette was drawn to Widow's Hill by unnatural forces. You know, like Matthew's just a little bit sensitive to the spooky stuff. He seems like he's aware of it, and he knows enough to be afraid of it, doesn't want to mess with it, just steers clear of it. And up in David's room, he's still on about it. He's like, well, I saw my father push Bill Malloy into the water in my crystal ball. Victoria's like, that's a serious accusation. David's like, I know. So back in the living room, we're getting a little bit of backstory about Matthew. He used to work for Liz's dad on the boats before he worked for her. Because this guy, like, he was played by an older guy. I don't know. I haven't looked up, like, the actor's ages. Sometimes you can use, if they don't say a character's age, it's sort of like an unspoken thing that we all just kind of default to the actor's age. So like if they don't say that the actor, like the character is say 25 and the actor is 35, like we're more likely to think they're the actor's age rather than the character's age, like that sort of a thing. So I would say that might make Matthew older than what he looks, since like we have not gotten we get a birth date for Liz. We haven't gotten that yet, and we don't want to speculate about a woman's age. So I'm not sure exactly how old he's supposed to be, but it seems like he's just a little ways older than Liz, possibly, unless he started working young. We don't know. I'm just kind of speculating myself here. But this is when Matthew admits there was a body. They did find a body there, but he just kind of shoved it out into the water after he took a look. And it was Bill Malloy. So that was Bill there floating at the bottom of Widow's Hill. So R.I.P. to Bill Malloy. That really sucks. That blows. Sorry about that. I liked him alright. It kind of sucks that he won't be around anymore. So Liz gets right on the phone and she calls the cops. I know where Bill is. And then we get a shot of the kitchen for the credits, which is very interesting. Again, we get like the most alive room in the house, and by alive it just really looks that way because there's plant life in there. Might be like more that, but there's really not plants sitting around in the living room. There's none in the foyer. I mean, like there's like the trees outside, but so it's kind of like just like the tone shift, just the juxtaposition of like we just found out a character's dead, and now we see the most alive room in the house. I get it, dark joke. I'm just checking my audio here. Alright, but So it's kind of like just... Yep, that's my voice. Okay, cool. Damn, that's bright. Some kind of white. I never look at the ads on that screen. All you do is turn on the TV, you hit over 3 times till you get to YouTube. You go in. Don't look at it. Remember that song "Just Don't Look" from The Simpsons? Lisa and somebody else sing it. Something like these bad advertisements, and the way to get rid of them was to just don't look. How'd they get rid of Queen Mab in Merlin? Just don't look. Forget about her. It's that simple. Oh, Erica, glad you made it. Evening, I'm in and out of chat. Wasn't ignoring you. Oh, that's cool. I had a sense you were here, even though you weren't talking. Oh, what's up, DJ underscore on Twitch? Yeah, nice voice from a nice mouth. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I guess when I'm not swearing or whatnot. I know it's not ladylike. What does it get 5 or 10 minutes into the video before you start dropping F-bombs? So you don't want to make a habit of swearing. You don't want to think of it like seasoning. Just pepper it in there. Or you can do your pseudo swearing. You son of a biscuit. Yeah, okay, recap. This is going to recap discs 4 through 6. I want to say the last recap was at episode 27. So we just got done with episode 53. And this is after every 3 discs, which will only make sense if you go by, like it might say on the Wikipedia what discs the episodes are on, but if you're watching on Tubi, it doesn't matter. That's not going to come up. This is just something exclusively what I'm going by. Since I went and got the thing, it doesn't really, it was mostly to like just keep my own thoughts straight because I was blowing through everything so fast. And sometimes I do tend to get off topic clearly, so if I'm having these extra thoughts, sometimes it's not appropriate to put a big like long rant in the middle of an episode like, wait a minute, okay, I'm piecing these things together. We're a little bit early into the show for that, maybe when we get on later on, but it's a bit much for being 50 some episodes into a show. NT says, I don't trust those who don't swear. They are up to some really shady nonsense. Yeah, people who never ever swear. If it's for your content, that's okay. I totally understand that because it's just one other thing you have to edit out. But like in your daily life, okay, like you stub your toe or you get a bad cut, it's okay to drop an F-bomb or shit or whatever, and you're just like, oh, damn it, or well, what the F, and just, it's okay. Maybe if there's, like children around, pseudo swear, but something like that happens, you're allowed to. Like saying a word is not going to make anything bad happen to you. Maybe don't be swearing on the clock at work, but so this is just covering just anything I've picked up on, but since the last recap. So Roger doesn't like David because he thinks he's Burke's. I really do am starting to think that's what it is. Oh, what's up, Nightcock? Glad you made it. It says, howdy, Balcony Gang. And Roger drinks almost as much as Sam does, but Sam's the drunk. And David legitimately tried to murder his father, and he hates Victoria just for being there. And he tried to frame her and then Burke for the murder. So he's already planning his how to get out of getting caught. And Liz is totally cool with this little attempted murderer under her roof. absolutely fine with it. Like she dresses so well. I'm probably always gonna bring this up. She looks so nice all of the time, even when she's supposed to be like like in the middle of the night and frazzled. She just always looks so put together. Watch when she turns around. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but she will do this like she'll go to say like lock the double doors or close the doors for the living room, and then she turns around in such a way. It's very subtle, but like the way she swings her arm out when she turns around, it's not like a big like look at me type of move. Like she's a dancer. It's just enough like normally your body doesn't move like that, so she's doing it on purpose. It's just this little graceful turnaround. Look for stuff like that. They don't have her messing with doors too much. There's an earlier episode where it's like this door, the door keeps getting stuck, so maybe that's why they cut it out. But or like she'll let somebody into the house, she'll close the door and then she'll turn around. Watch that. Art, yeah, love the Dark Shadows fashion and makeup and hair. Because there's so, for being a black and white show, there was a lot of detail to notice in the clothing and the hairstyles and even the makeup. And then it suddenly becomes color, and it's almost like you're watching two shows at once because you're comparing everything you saw in the however many episodes were black and white to color. It's the same clothes, so now you've got to think about the same clothes in color, and then people have eye color now. It's so wild. It's so much fun. It's interesting when the switch happens too. It's like, did they plan that? So Victoria puts up with this because she thinks she'll find answers about her past. That's the only reason why she's putting up with any of this nonsense. It's everybody's just accusing her of all these things, and she just kind of sucks it up and goes to work. Sam is up every night drinking, and Maggie is worried about him. And she knows something up is up. And she says something. He never explains himself. And she had a really great childhood until things changed. And then Joe is still holding out for Carolyn. And Carolyn is so bored she's chasing after Burke. Like she can't even see that Joe's there or something. And Burke's being nice to Carolyn and David to fuck with the Collins family. And he is proceeding with plans against them. Like financially, he's going after the businesses. And he wants his name cleared. I think he likes Victoria. He's just a little bit. It's a little bit more than she's connected with the family. I think he's just a tad bit sweet on her. And Collinwood is legitimately haunted. It's legitimately haunted. And where's Bill Malloy? In the water. Too bad. A night cop working on cars, you learn how to swear. It's the only way you can fix them. I learned at my first job when the machinery fucks up, you got to swear at it. Son of a bitch, and then that fixes it. It works. It really works. I thought I was being lied to because it was my first job and I was a kid. Like, no, no, that's how it works. Oh my God, Thomas Collins! I just blew up my engine. I'll say, ow. I hope it was close to the house so you don't have to walk far. That sucks. All right, episode 54, disc 7. This aired on September 8th, 1966. And it is still that sixth day. So we're in Roger's office. Burke phones him up. Have you heard from Bill Malloy? Roger's like, no, and your taste in gifts sucks. Hangs up, leaves the office. So I guess he doesn't like the idea of David having a crystal ball either. He wouldn't like anything that Burke gave to David anyway, just because it's Burke, but of course he's not going to have anything nice to say. So in the living room, Matthew Morgan has said he has seen drowned men before, and judging by the look of Bill, he'd been dead 24 hours, and Bill couldn't swim. And Matthew didn't want rumors of another death at Collinwood, so that's why he had shoved the body out to sea. And he says, yeah, but Bill would have done the same for me. He's legit when he says that, too. But Liz wonders if there was another cause of death. No, just when you, yep. You've seen Sleepy Hollow. When you find him in the river, cause of death is drowning. So at Roger's office, he's back in there. He doesn't want to be bothered. But there's now Burke is there. He just barges right in. And he's got all kinds of questions. Thomas Collins' public transportation is really cool. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad you got good public transport in your area. And Burke's already asked Sam, so now he's here to ask Roger. Oh. Oh, I think this is new. Yeah, this is new. Okay, we're in the living room in Collinwood. This fella, the sheriff is there. This is a new guy, not the constable, but this is a sheriff, George Patterson. A lot of times they just call him the sheriff, like the other guy was the constable. Sometimes they call him George. It just depends on the character. This fella is, a middle-aged guy, like a bald on top, but like the ring of hair around the back. A bigger gentleman. This is like if I knew this dude in real life, I'd be like, you gotta slow down. At your age, you don't quite need to be that big. Maybe ease off on the cholesterol. Do you guys know what cholesterol is in 1966? But I'm a little bit worried about his size. Um, Another character mentions it later. That's sort of why I bring it up now. I mean, it's not like we're watching a Precious or anything, but I would imagine his doctor has a lot to speak with him about when he goes for a checkup. Good actor though, good actor, good actor. But he's there, and yeah, so is Matthew. He and Liz were, just there waiting, and Matthew's right with you. Saw Bill, he drowned. I don't know how, shoving him out to sea. And then Liz is like, yeah, and we don't know where he is now. And we saw him last night, just kind of floated away. So back in Roger's office, there's Burke. And he's saying that Bill had called that meeting because he had evidence that could clear his name with Sam's help. Roger's like, I barely know Sam Evans. And Burke, you're putting facts together that don't connect. Trying to gaslight him. So in the living room, there's the sheriff knows Bill didn't drown. Well, he knows he didn't drown at Collinwood because of how fast the tide moves. Oh, okay. So Liz says Matthew only pushed Bill out to sea to spare the Collins family any trouble. That's so bad. You have to throw him under the bus for Roger's car accident. Now yeah, he did shove the body out to sea. That's a real thing. But, this guy's, sort of almost in trouble a lot. You're going to stress him out. So there's in Roger's office. Burke's getting, the longer Bill's gone, the more determined Burke seems to be to just blurt out, hey, I know what Bill's going to say. This is what it is, but he's got two people that can say that's not true, so he just kind of has his own word and his own determination that he knows what Bill had to say, but he can't prove it. But Burke's saying, you set me up on manslaughter. And Roger still, he denies it. I didn't do that. I don't know Sam Evans. That's his story he's sticking to. And Burke's saying that the Bill offered for him to leave Liz and Carolyn alone in exchange for you, Roger. So it's all coming out. So now Matthew's saying that, what happened was last night he didn't walk up and down the coast. He had just found Bill after midnight and checked out the body for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then kind of just sit around for 20 minutes deciding what to do. And so the sheriff figures it was about 12:30 a.m., just trying to pinpoint a time so they can find where Bill has floated to now. And where he went in. And then he tells Liz he wonders if anyone would have profited from Bill's death. Well, I wasn't thinking about a money angle. So in Roger's office, here's Burke saying only you and Sam profits from Bill's disappearance. And Roger's still, I don't know anything about Sam Evans. It's like, get the hell out of my office and stop asking me questions, but he just won't leave. So that's when the phone rings. Roger can't answer it fast enough, and she's telling him to come home. So that's Roger's excuse. He hangs up. Oh, I'm needed at home. I can't stay and talk to you. I've got to go. Oh, this can wait. So he gets out of there fast. So in the foyer, Roger shows up. And Liz is there, tells him the cops want to talk to you. And Roger goes from super chill to nervous AF. And then we see a shot of Roger's dartboard for the credits. Remember when he was throwing those darts over Bill's shoulder the other night? Now we get a close-up of that. Episode 55 aired September 9, 1966. We're still on that 6th day. It is daytime. So we're in the foyer, and the sheriff is saying that we haven't found Bill. But Liz goes up to Roger. She hugs him. They're not very affectionate, but she just, found out. She gives him a hug. You can tell she's upset. She's like, it's Bill. He drowned. Roger's like, how do you know? And Liz tells him, Matthew lied, that he did see a body. It was Bill Malloy down there in the water at Widow's Hill. So they go into the living room. That's when she tells Roger, Matthew pushed Bill's body out to sea just to protect the Collins family from gossip. That's the last thing they need. And the sheriff saying how Bill Malloy's cause of death determines how they are going to proceed. I guess that makes sense. So what the Collins pour in, it's Sam saying that Burke had canceled his sitting, and that's good because his hands are just shaky today anyway. He's speaking with Maggie, that he asks about Bill Malloy. And Maggie's like, yeah, everybody's been asking about Bill and talking about him today. So Sam asks if Burke or Roger have been in. No. And he's worried about Bill Malloy, and he just seems distracted. Like he's always got something on his mind anyway, and he's just extra distracted on top of it. This dude's got nothing but worries. Oh, okay, in the living room, Liz made coffee. They usually have tea. I mean, we can't see it. They say that's what it is. That's what it is. But it's usually tea. Now it's coffee. That's all right. The sheriff says, Matthew is showing his deputy, Harry Shaw, where he saw the body. So they're just out of the house for a moment. And here's Roger. He knows. He doesn't know why a drowned man would need an autopsy. We have found him in the water. And the sheriff says, well, because he could have been shot. So back at the inn, Sam is asking Maggie about that letter. So Maggie says, and she says this, but well, you told me to keep it in a safe place. What's safer than a safe? There's a safe in the Collinsport Inn, like where the front desk is there. There's a safe there. That's where it is. And Sam says it's important someone knows that that letter exists, but he won't say who. And they don't know she has it. So Maggie asks why he wants it back. And she knows that he's in a mess, but doesn't know what or why he's been acting this way since Burke returned. And she doesn't want to give it back. If something happened to Sam and she didn't have that letter, she'd never know who would want to hurt her father. So she knows, like, she never gets any information about anything that's been going on in the last 10 years. She gets this one letter. Of course she's going to hang on to it. And no, she hasn't read it yet. I don't even want to say yet. She just has not read it. So back in the living room, Roger says that Bill Malloy was at Collinwood at 10 p.m. Liz said Mrs. Johnson said Bill got a phone call at 10:30 p.m., but doesn't know who called. And he was probably dead before 11 p.m. So that's when Roger tells the sheriff about the meeting. And he says that Burke and Sam can confirm, but he doesn't know why Sam was there. And then Burke went to Bill's home and said it was dark. And now Liz mentions that Bill seemed upset that afternoon and said he had an important decision to make. Oh no! The sheriff says maybe he decided to kill himself. Oh, that's... Um, Liz says he wasn't happy about Ned returning, but she wouldn't believe that he would kill himself. I don't believe that either. Bill does not seem like the type. And I know the sheriff's just throwing out any kind of, it could have been anything. He has to be the most suspicious person, but oh my God, he was shot, he unalived himself, all of the above. So back at the Collinsport Inn, Maggie's on the phone taking a phone order from Burke, and just calling down his food, and no, she has not seen Bill Malloy. Then she asks if Burke has anything to do with a letter. Well, she gets off of the phone call, Sam's still there, so that's when she asks Sam if Burke has to do with the letter or if it has to do with Bill's disappearance. And Sam's just had enough of this. Just stop guessing. And he doesn't remember exactly what he told Bill Malloy because he was drunk. So at the Collinwood foyer, the sheriff asks if Bill could have just been a closet Elkie since he was seen drinking at the Blue Whale. Maybe he could have been drunk and just slipped in the water and drowned. And Roger's like, now that you mention it. And that's when the sheriff mentions that he is going to ask the Mrs. Johnson, his housekeeper, he calls her a teetotaler. Because she would have noticed. If you don't do a drug and see somebody else doing it, you notice. Like, I'm not a heroin addict, so I noticed real fast when everybody was all downed out with, like, their cigarette burns and their hoodies and just, oh, yeah. Alright, I love the Blue Whale. I'm gonna go in there and drink, and I'm not even a bar person. I dig the prices. I like that I can run up a bar tab at $80. I mean, that's a lot. I don't think I could drink $80 worth of drinks. I just, my weight is not up there. I have in my head that I'm a Capricorn. We can drink. I can hold my liquor. But when I was doing that, I was almost 100 pounds heavier. But I can't, you can't tell me that. So in my head, I still think I can slam them back. But in reality, I could have 2 Irish car bombs and be done. And I don't drink beer. I go for the, like, I'm doing shots of 100% or 100 proof Captain Morgan. No chaser. So yeah, the sheriff's gonna go ask Mrs. Johnson because the straight laced non-drinker is gonna notice when somebody's hitting the bottle. And Roger says, "I and my ghosts want a drink. My nerves are shot." I heard that. So over in the living room, Liz says that Bill said that he was going to prove Burke's innocent and had evidence, and he wouldn't have lied to me. And Roger lies. Like the bartender there seems to keep a close eye on people. Like for a guy who rarely gets I don't think he ever gets lines except once or twice. But he, like, it's a small town. Yeah, he's gonna know everybody. So like I think when everybody comes in, he just like knows how they're gonna react. So if there's gonna be trouble, he already knows ahead of time. And he's not like, hey, you guys, I don't want any trouble. He's just sitting back and serving drinks. Like, don't bust up the furniture. He's like he's a big guy bartender. It's not like he's some scrawny dude. So if he had to like chuck somebody out, he could. Thomas Collins, I swear, pub life, happiest place on earth, giggles all day and night. Yeah. And it's a bar where people go to dance. I'm used to people dancing at the gay bar and people just sitting around in the straight bar, but this is a straight bar where people get up and dance. I've never been in such a place. The Collins poured in. It's Maggie. So she's saying that Bill Malloy is a fair man. Maybe he can help Sam. And then Sam agrees that Bill's the only person who can help. And that's when the sheriff walks in. The phone rings. She answers the Collinsport restaurant. And it's still the same room. But it's I guess they're phoning for the sheriff. Gets on the phone. The Coast Guard found Bill Malloy dead. So Sam gets to hear it first, along with Maggie. Oh, that sucks for Sam. Shot of the living room window for the credits. That's the only guy that can help me. We just found him dead. Credits, yeah. Ruh. Episode 56 aired September 12th, 1966. We're still on the sixth day. It is daytime. We are in the living room. Oh, Carolyn says it's day, so that's how we know. Again, like you can be in that room and never see the window. You might just see the fireplace and all the rest of the room. So like sometimes there are long periods of time where scenes are shot in such a way that you never see. Like they can shoot in the foyer, and if you don't see the second story, the second floor, you don't see the window, so you're not going to know what time it is. If nobody walks in through the front door, you can't see outside, so you're not going to know what time it is. If they don't show the clock, you're not going to, you get it. So you have to either just wait or listen to what the other characters are saying. So a lot of times I'll start with an episode and I can't write anything down. Like, I don't know if it's still the same day or not. What? And then I get like a scene or two in, and that's when I get to start writing. So it happens. Arden says, no problem, was kind of ignoring chat also, Erica. Oh, that's okay. But we're in the living room. Yeah, Carolyn did say it's daytime. That's when Liz gives her the watch, saying, Joe found it this morning. And you did see a dead body. And that's when the phone rings. And they're saying that Bill Malloy has been found. And Carolyn's like, is that who we saw? And Liz asks, if they're sure it's Bill. It is. F's in the chat. So Carolyn is super sad. And that's when Liz tells her, yeah, Matthew pushed Bill's body back into the water to protect the Collins family. And, they'll say he died at Widow's Hill, but he was found 2 miles down the coast. And then she gets on the phone. She's just calling around trying to find Roger. So maybe it's afternoon by now. I guess Carolyn just slept all day. Or slept the morning away. All right, at the Blue Whale. Roger walks in. Sees Sam. I knew I'd find you here. And Sam, he's got his drink. Did you hear about Bill Malloy? He's dead. He's got his beer and his shot. So it's like if there's ever a time to drink, it's after you hear about somebody passed away. So I'm not gonna. Yeah, he's an alkie, but he's just sort of kind of lost friend. Will you, Bill Cooper, Irish car bombs, cack? Hell yeah. Michael Orleans, Dark Shadows. No, he's one of the show's biggest fans. My show and that show. What's up? Glad you made it. Arn says, I wonder what music was playing at the Blue Whale. It's sort of let's say it's like noon. They did just find out Bill Malloy died. It's not like that bar is really busy in the middle of the day. Maybe the jukebox was not playing. That happens like half the time. They're still figuring out what songs work in that bar. But when it gets to that funny, cartoony one, I'll make note of it. Oh my god, that was it's like when you're trying to have a serious conversation and Looney Tunes is playing on the TV a little bit too loud, but we're in a bar. Oh. At Victoria's room, Carolyn comes in, and Victoria's just, making her bed, and Carolyn kind of starts to help her do it, and then she just gets frustrated with it. And then she just kind of breaks down, she starts crying, and she's just saying, nothing seems to go right, ever. And now she's just getting all, she just found out somebody who she thought of as her father passed away, so of course she's not feeling great. And mentioning how Collinwood has enough legends for every night of the year. And that's when she tells Victoria that Bill Malloy is dead. And he's one of the nicest, sweetest men she's ever known. Oh, that really sucks. She's really sad, too. It's kind of hard to watch. Like she's like Carolyn's upset herself about other stuff before, but this is real. So over at the Blue Whale, Roger's saying that the sheriff has ordered an autopsy. So here's Sam saying it. He doesn't know why a drowned man would need an autopsy. Roger's like, I know, right? He says if Bill was murdered, he'll find out who did it. And he tells him he told the sheriff about the meeting that he was there because Burke would have said he was there when he gets questioned. So that's going to come out anyway. So now Sam's nervous about getting questioned. So back in Victoria's room, Carolyn's saying that Bill always wanted to spend 1 month on a tropical island. Like no worries, no responsibilities, just by himself on an island. And saying to follow your dreams while you still have time. So Liz comes in. She wants Carolyn to go into Collinsport and look for Roger. And then she tells Victoria that David should play outside today. He doesn't need any lessons. And don't mention Bill. So Victoria's got the day off. Cool. She wants to go see Sam Evans. Thomas Collins says, welcome, Michael. Might as well get over it. Collinwood is forever. Nikki helps a lot. Oh, thank you. It's a real place. It's a real building. So at the Blue Whale, Roger's saying, do you want to tell the sheriff what the meeting was about? If Bill Malloy had shown up, you'd be in prison. And he's saying that you have as much to gain by Bill's death as me. And it's our word against Burke. And this is really eating Sam up. He cannot take the guilt. He is really going through it. Yeah, in later episodes, they play Pedro Gonzalez and his Mexican brass at the Blue Whale. Nice. They do mix it up. It doesn't really get... I mean, they might... The only reason some of the music seems a little bit repetitive to me is just because I've had to sit there and like write notes during a scene. But honestly, if you're just watching them through, it's not like you're gonna... It's not like they play the exact same song every time they're in the bar. You know, if it's more moody, there's slower music. If the bar's hopping, they might have some dance music. So it's not distracting from the scene except for that one time. Just live and learn. So in the living room, it's Carolyn's looking through that Collins family, big old thick history book. And Victoria's saying that Roger didn't want her to meet Sam. And could it be because Sam knows about her past? Carolyn thinks that's silly. Sam's a drunk artist. What would he know? Wow. Nightcock says, I just noticed your last name seems awfully familiar, Thomas Collins. That name does seem to come up a lot more recently. So over in the Collinwood foyer, Roger comes home. And Liz asks, have you heard about Bill? And I guess they decided to give the cannery the day off. It's afternoon. You gave them half the day off. But, okay, whatever. So Victoria asks to borrow Carolyn's car. Carolyn lets her. Here's the keys. Go ahead. And then Victoria tells Roger she's going to go see Sam. Living room for the credits. Like, hey, I'm gonna go do that thing you told me not to do, and I'm gonna take your niece's car. Catch you later. Thomas Collins says, yes, Nightcock, this is our destiny. It is. We're doing what we were always meant to do. Like talking and having super dry lips. If I don't put this stuff on it, I just chew on my lips for 2 hours, and I can't do that. So this is somehow like, don't put on makeup in public. Like, don't be sitting in the restaurant and like applying, going to the bathroom for that. It feels like I should get up and like go into the bathroom and do that, but you can't do that. I'm not eating on camera, so it's not that. Just the foundation, eyebrows, all the like you've seen those channels. I've watched these too, where a chick will just sit there with her ring light and apply makeup while they're talking about a true crime case. Those are interesting. It depends on the person. I can't do that. I can't have a ring light. I don't know how much makeup costs, but I'm not gonna apply it. All makeup did was just make like my skin would just always break out from the foundation, so I stopped wearing it. You get farther with healthier skin than throwing makeup over it. Thomas Collins says there was a joke associated with the cocktail. You can look it up. Here, Nikki. Yep. Hell yeah. So episode 57 aired on September 13, 1966. We are still on that third day. It is the afternoon. So the cannery got the afternoon off. That's still something. At the Collinsport Inn, it is 3 floors tall. Plus, you can see, like when the roof peaks up and you get that little teeny tiny attic window. It's got one of those. One to go to, you had me chew on my lips for hours. LOL. It just you get a little bit of dry skin and then you notice it and then you start messing with it and you don't realize everything's being recorded and then you watch it back and you're just like, what's worse, making like funny faces with your lips or just putting on the, yeah. So I already had the Carmex anyway, so I might as well. It came in a 3-pack. I got one left. It lasts. And this is the only time I wear it. I never wear anything on my lips except for when I'm in front of you guys. So Burke comes down. He orders a coffee. And he's saying how Bill gave him his start. And he told him to don't be afraid to take chances. And that's when Maggie lets him know, yeah, the Coast Guard pulled him out of the water an hour ago. And Burke's like, yeah, I half expected this. Maggie said, you sound like you think he was murdered. He couldn't swim, he drowned. Burke says, Bill had a fatal disease. Honesty. You make no friends being honest. You might get a little bit of respect, but you don't get very many extra friends from it. Speaking from personal experience, I don't care. It's like, you know what? If you don't like what I'm saying, call me a liar. You can't. So anyway. So Burke phones the sheriff. I'm assuming we still have the phone in the same room as the restaurant. Or he gets up and goes. It's really just like you walk through those double doors, you take a couple steps, you're at the phone booth. It's not that far away. But Victoria comes in. She's there to have lunch. Like, you heard about Bill, huh? So Burke asks Victoria how Roger took the news. Yeah, I'll bet he was upset. But he couldn't get in touch with the sheriff, so he's just off to just go to the man's office. So later on, the sheriff calls. So Maggie answers the phone. There is that phone. There's like that phone booth, but there is like just like a regular normal phone by the one door to go inside of the restaurant next to where those pegs are to hang up your coat. Maybe that's the phone he uses. It's just easier to get to. I'm thinking, what would the actor do? Since I didn't write it down, and I don't remember. But she's Maggie's on the phone with the sheriff, and she asks what Bill's cause of death was, and he won't tell her. And Victoria's still, right there saying, Burke sounded like he thought Roger wasn't sorry Bill drowned. Maggie Maggie doesn't know why Victoria would want to work at Collinwood. Victoria says, I have to. She says, it's just a house. I came to Collinsport for answers. It's just a house. I mean, yeah. So at the police department, the sheriff has Sam tailed so he doesn't skip town. So he's just on the phone, talking to his people. Hey, keep an eye on Mr. Evans. So he gets a call about Bill's autopsy. And that's when, Burke, just comes barging in. And he wants to know the cause of death. So he saw Bill at the Blue Whale and thought he could get his name cleared. And Roger and Sam were at that meeting, but Bill never showed up. So I don't know what happened. Ask Roger. And the sheriff said, I did. He doesn't know why Bill wanted him there. So back at the Collinsport in the restaurant, Victoria says that Roger didn't want her to have dinner with Sam. She thinks that Roger doesn't want her to learn about her past. And that's when she tells Maggie about that money that was sent from Bangor for her, every month until she was 16. And that's why she took the job at Collinwood. And she thinks Collinwood has answers. Just always, she can't shake that feeling. So Maggie invites her to dinner tonight. And Victoria's like, yeah, well, if she hadn't asked, she would have invited herself. So at the police department, Burke's saying that he left the Blue Whale at 10:45 p.m. that night, and the bartender saw him. And the sheriff has gotten the information back that Bill drowned. He had a bump on his head, and they think the time of death was 10:45 p.m. That's sort of where they've got it locked in. And it mentions that Mrs. Johnson said Bill got a call at 10:30 p.m. Burke mentions that he phoned at 11 p.m. and no one answered. And that is true. So at the Collinsport Inn, Burke is back, and Victoria is still there. He invites her to dinner, but she can't. She's already having dinner with the Evanses. Can't do it. And we see the police department for the credits. Hey, I want to invite you to dinner. It can't. Already got plans. I guess he should have asked her sooner. I wasn't thinking about that. To be fair, he was thinking more about his missing dead buddy than asking some girl to eat with him. Burke just seems like the type of person that, since he's made his money, it just opens doors for him. So he's used to people just saying yes and going along with what he wants. So anytime he gets any pushback, it's like, why? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know I've got all of this? And so it's And he's always very controlled because he knows he's got his ulterior motives. So of course he's always in control of his emotions. But with Bill going missing, this is the first time something's completely out of his control, and it seems like he doesn't know how to handle it. So it's the first time we see him a little bit shaky. It's not like he's like Sam and drinking and all of this stuff, but he's just not 100% in control, and he doesn't know, or he doesn't like being in that position, so it kind of shakes him a bit. Thomas Collins says, "It is a joy to find us doing just what we are supposed to do." Yep. That's why I quit my job. I knew I was not supposed to spend my life working for groomers. Felt like I was helping fund terrorism, sending money out of the country. Nope, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to sit in front of a camera. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's amazing. You couldn't have really done this. You couldn't have done this 20 years ago like this. You can, but there was a lot more involved. What was YouTube like back then? But anyway, episode 58. This was aired September 14, 1966. It's still afternoon on that 6th day. Yeah, we are in the Blue Whale. Of course, Sam is still there. But Joe comes in. He orders a beer. This is when he tells Sam, yeah, the cattery is closed for the day, so he's here to have a drink. But hopefully just one, and he's not going to get, shit-faced and cuss people out. But so back in Collinwood, in the living room, David is just very adamant. He wants to know the exact spot where Carolyn saw Bill. She doesn't want to talk about it. He's just needling in on the facts. Like, she's upset, doesn't want to even have this conversation. Like, her dear friend died, and she does not want to talk about it. She's sick of death. And in Collinwood, she's just fed up with everything. But David does not understand. He's friends with all the ghosts, and maybe Bill will come back, and he will if nobody finds out how he died. And then he shows Carolyn the book he was looking at. It's like tides and wind currents for the area. All of this stuff. It's almost like he's a detective trying to figure this stuff out, but it's just his own curiosity. So at the Blue Whale, Sam is asking how the cops would find where Bill went into the water. And that's when Joe's explaining, well, like the exact spot would be approximate. And that's when the sheriff walks in. And he makes some kind of offhanded comment about one man's death being of a benefit to others. And then Sam calls him on it. And the sheriff kind of glances over at Joe like, if I had the day off, I'd be up for a drive with my girl. I'd have married Carolyn or let her go by now. Dude, you're getting kind of personal. Who the hell asked? So Joe kind of takes the hint and leaves. So over in the foyer, David comes back in. This dude is just covered in dirt. This dude gets dirty like there's a prize for it. He climbed down Widow's Hill, got down there by the rocks, and he's sure he found where Bill washed ashore. And for real, though, Carolyn's like, can't you see what you're doing is morbid? David says, no, because I don't know what that means. I don't know if I knew what that meant at that age, but like he just wants to know like the facts about where the body went in and the time and all the hard details, and just cannot see the emotional side of it, that people miss this guy. He just figures oh, he's dead, he can't come back, and now I just want to know, like he just, it just completely does not see the human side of it. Maybe he didn't know Bill at all. He's only been in Collinwood for 2 months, but just zero empathy from this kid at all. Like he's not like sad that that Carolyn's upset. Nothing. So this is when Joe arrives. He's there to take Carolyn on a drive, and she kind of needs a distraction, so she's for it. And David just right in at Joe, asking him about tide currents because he's solving a murder. Carolyn said, "Who said it was murder?" Back in the Blue Whale, it's the sheriff talking with Sam, and he's like, it's too smoky in here. Let's talk in my office. I don't know if anybody's smoking in that scene, but okay. So back in the foyer, Carolyn's coming downstairs. She's got her clothes changed to go out for a drive. But she comes down there. There's nobody in the foyer, but she hears Joe talking. He's, must be in the living room. So we go over there. And we've never seen Joe so interested in the thing, because there's those books that David had open with the tides and the currents. He's got that open. He's looking over it. There's Joe, and he's explaining all that. Like he's worked on boats his whole life. He knows this stuff. So he's like when you're trying to teach something to somebody that you've known about your whole life, you're hella into it. Like it doesn't take anything to start somebody talking about their favorite subject. Like don't start talking about Greystone Plays or Dark Shadows or Minecraft, because then I'm gonna go off and it's gonna be a whole thing. That's how Joe is. This is his whole working life. Of course he wants to talk about it, so he's like, you've never seen this man so focused on a project. And there's David right there, and he's explaining it all to him and doing a good job and all this. But Carolyn just sees this, and she throws a fit. Like Joe would rather play with David than her. Like they're all five or something. And Joe's like, no, 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 that's not it. I was just teaching David something about, something I know about, and I just got into it. Like that's all it is. And Joe just wrap it up with him. Okay, we'll go on the drive. Like sorry I came over here and was interested in something other than you for a second, but okay, honey, let's go for the drive. Damn, it's all about you, woman. So, but he's like, okay, David, we gotta go. David wants him to stay. No, help me out with this. Joe's like, well, just ask your father about it when he gets back. And they take off. And the last thing David wants to do is talk to his father, so that just pisses him off. So, yeah, so Joe tells Carolyn what the sheriff just said about marriage. Cannot believe that it said that. So at the police department, the sheriff asks Sam about that meeting, and Sam doesn't know, and Bill just told him to show up. So the sheriff guesses the real reason for the meeting, that, he had evidence and could clear up that murder trial, and that Burke had to go through 10 years ago, and Sam just, no, I don't know. Sheriff's like, oh, well, that's the reason that Burke told me. Where were you at 10:45 p.m.? That only you and Roger would benefit from Bill's death. Sam's like, you think I killed him? Sheriff never mentioned murder. So in the foyer, the sheriff arrives. He's there to see Roger, and David's the one who answered the door, and David knew the sheriff would be there, so he thinks his dad killed Bill Malloy. Foyer for the credits. Oh, Thomas Collins, I do not like my love being used for war. I loathe terrorism. Yeah, there's enough hatred out there in the world. We don't need to add to it. All right, episode 59 aired September 15, 1966. It's still the afternoon of that sixth day. All right, in the foyer, it's that picture that's on the wall. There's only the one picture on the wall in the foyer. There's like that long table. There's a table against the wall, and there's a picture above it. I hope I'm doing that right. I'm trying to do it right for you guys. That is Roger's great uncle, Benjamin Collins. Up on that left wall. Yeah, the sheriff's there. Roger's like, I just saw you this morning. The sheriff tells him that Bill had a bump on his head, but they don't know when it happened. He could have jumped or been pushed. Roger's like, pushed? So he offers to help in any way he can. All right, in the foyer, Liz is okay. Liz is wearing it's her black dress. Usually, with these dresses, like they come down to about the knee, maybe just a little bit like past the like kneecap type of area. We really aren't seeing like dresses down to the floor. A lot, at least with Liz, like most of her dresses are long sleeved. Sometimes she does a short sleeve, never sleeveless. But it's a black dress. This is short sleeved, but it's got like that white folded out collar, like when just folded down, and pearl earrings, kind of big, like maybe it's not as big as a quarter, but like these two big pearls. I don't know if she's wearing it here, but usually when she wears her pearl earrings, she wears her pearl necklace. But with the collar of that dress, maybe it would have covered it up, so she's not wearing it. But Victoria is back. She's got some gifts, and she mentions that she's having dinner with friends tonight. And Roger mentions that the sheriff is back and asking questions. So over in the living room, Roger's saying, yeah, Bill left at 10:10 p.m., had a drink, called the Coast Guard for the weather report, then went to the meeting. And the sheriff said that Bill was home at 10:20 p.m. That's what Mrs. Johnson said. Roger says, I left at 10:50 p.m. It was a 10-minute drive to the office. And the sheriff lets him know that Bill's watch stopped at 10:45 p.m. and asks why Bill would have been upset. So Liz says Bill was going to get Burke to stop bothering the Collins family. And the sheriff said, well, Burke said that the meeting was to clear his name. That Roger calls Burke a liar. And Liz agrees. So in Victoria's bedroom, David is dressed up. I forget exactly what he's wearing. He usually will wear like maybe like a button-down shirt, pants and a belt. It's never like he doesn't dress sloppily, but maybe this time he's wearing like a sweater vest. He might be wearing a tie, but like he is dressed up. He's super. We've never seen him so upbeat before. It's almost like when he got his gift from Burke. Like this child is rarely in a very good mood. He's in a very good mood. But he's chipper. He tells Victoria that the sheriff is there to arrest Roger and he'll never see him again. And the widows in the crystal ball told him that Roger killed Bill Malloy and he figured out where it happened. And Victoria tells him to get out of her room. Art and Liz's fashion, also Victoria and Carolyn and Maggie's all have great clothes. Oh my god, yes. Oh my god. Some of these clothes. And it's just everything is just so fitted and it's just so well tailored, and like not one of these girls has is the same like height or has the same body type, so it's not like they could be like switching out clothes unless stuff was tailored. So it's like they've got their own wardrobe. We're not seeing other characters in other people's clothing, nothing like that. And then at some point, like it's like, oh, somebody went to the fabric store, everybody gets new clothing at some point. Then like we get to the color episodes. We get to the color episodes, and then we will see Liz wearing purple. Everything stops. When you see a Pisces in purple, it's an event. Everything stops. I mean, like, we'll stop and talk about it. Like, wait, Liz is in lavender. Hold on. You wouldn't know that now. Spoilers, it happens later on. Down in the living room, Liz is asking, well, what did Sam Evans say? Sheriff says, oh, same as Roger. So they're sticking to their stories. So over in the foyer, David is so excited. He's got his title charts made up, and he gives them right to the sheriff, right in front of Roger. He's super proud about it, like he solved the case. But then he gets kind of, Roger's not, in handcuffs, and so David's just kind of like, oh, I thought he was there to arrest his dad. So he's sad about that. Oh, you're not going to take him away? So later on, there's David. He's eavesdropping at the door. So in the living room, of course, Roger has a drink. And Liz says that Bill said he could prove that you were guilty of Burke's crime. And then Sam visited, and the four of you met up. That's suspicious. And then Roger admits he lied on the stand and killed Bill Malloy. It's like, what the fuck? And Roger's like, that's what you want me to say, isn't it? Like, that's how you sound because Burke put that in your head. I thought he was admitting shit there too. I'm like, what? And then he goes on. I'm like, oh, it's like you're letting your imagination run away from you. The color episodes are fantastic. It's fun because they go to color and it stays that way for a while, and then every so often you get a black and white episode. You don't know, it just happens. It doesn't take anything away from it, but you're like, is it permanent? Hold on, now I gotta start making notes of when it's black and white and color. That's all it really means to me, is just a little bit extra note taking. It doesn't change the show. It's as good in black and white as it is in color. The only difference is whether or not you like, I don't know, the storyline that they're in. Oh, this episode would have been so much better in black and white. So over in the foyer, Victoria catches David eavesdropping. And, David just heard all of that. I heard my father say he killed Bill Malloy. And he runs upstairs. But Victoria doesn't have time for that. She's got to go have dinner with Maggie and her dad, so she's can't be chasing up after him right now. But yeah, Liz mentioned she's going to go have dinner with Maggie Evans, and it takes off. So Liz is just putting it together. She says Maggie Evans. Is her dad Sam Evans? It's like, yeah. Why does it bother you? She's asking Roger why it bothers him. Roger's like, oh, it doesn't. Yeah, that living room, there's that picture above the fireplace for the credits. I think I can get through one more. So episode 60 was September 16, 1966. It's night on that sixth day. We're at the Evans cottage. Groceries in paper bags. Remember that? And they're big and heavy, and sometimes you had to double bag stuff, and you had to worry about it ripping and getting wet. Like that. None of this plastic bag bullshit. Oh, Maggie, she's got this cute top on with a skirt, wide belt, and a ponytail. Couldn't say what color it is. Some shade of gray. But she's walking in with Victoria. Hangs up her coat right after the door. You know, it's got those weird doors, that weird screen door. Like there's actually like pegs there where you can hang up coats, and then there's a couple of steps down. And you're in the living room. But of course, Victoria's going to notice all those paintings. They're always out. There's plenty of light so you can see. Sometimes they're in different spots, but you're going. That's the first thing you're going to notice about that room at any time. Paper or plastic was the beginning of the end, Keck. Yeah. I don't need the bag to constantly be making noise. I know it's there. I brought it into the house. But Victoria's kind of, looking around at the paintings. Just, some of them are just stacked up. They're not all on display, so she's kind of just like, going through them, seeing what they got back there. But she takes out one. It's kind of big, about like that. Like maybe quite a little bit smaller, like roughly the size of this, but square, not rectangle. But it very greatly resembles her. Like a lot. Like this could have been like an older sister or a mother. But I mean, practical purposes, they just painted the actress. But like it's scary to see something that looks so similar to yourself. She's like, hey, do you think this looks like me? I'm like, no, really, look at it. Look at me. Do you think? It maybe sees the resemblance, but she's like, it could just be a coincidence. And Victoria's like, she used to pray she'd just wake up and know who she is. And Maggie's like, I don't know. Known my dad my I've known my dad my whole life. Like if she would have seen another girl that looked like Victoria, it might have just popped up into her head by now. Want to go to Trader Joe's, paper sacks for the win. They were really nasty to people in 2020 though. Traitor Joe's. Like Joe Haskell, except shady. At the police department, Burke tries to get information about Bill's case. And of course, the sheriff is not going to give up anything. Just all these questions, and you just get, could be, what do you think? I don't know, maybe. Won't say nothing. So back at the Evanses, Maggie's just, what's the Collinwood kitchen like? And Victoria's like, oh, it's spooky with the witch and cauldrons. And actually, it's just a normal kitchen. It's just a little bit bigger than yours. It's bigger than yours. And Maggie's like, ever seen a ghost there? Victoria says, once, maybe. Talking about that time there was that dark figure in the living room door during the storm, and then it just vanished. And the lights went out, and they came back on. That. Maggie said, I couldn't stand to live at Collinwood. I don't have the nerves. And saying all that trouble started 10 years ago. And Victoria mentions like all anybody talks about is Burke's trial. I know she's probably sick about hearing about the same subject. So that's when Sam comes in. So they get to actually meet, and Victoria gets to, like, know that's Sam. Even though it was a different actor before, that doesn't matter in universe. So at the police department, Burke is looking at and noticing that the sheriff's looking at his paperwork, and oh, is that your official report? Looks like it was made by a 10-year-old. Sheriff says, actually 9. David Collins. He was close. Like Bill Malloy could have gone in at about 3 different spots. One of them was at a place called Lookout Point. The other ones were at Bill Malloy's home or a place called Sims Cove. Like Sims, like the game. That's halfway between Bill's house and the cannery. So somebody's lying. And Roger and Sam say it's you. And then Burke, counters, says, no, they're lying. And he won't let them get away with it. So the sheriff doesn't like where that's going. It's like, well, he'll lock him up if he thinks he's going to take the law into his own hands. Like, you are not the cop here. At the Evans cottage, Maggie made cookies. I gotta get cookies. And Sam's saying that Maggie, she hasn't been laughing like she used to. And Victoria asks her about that picture, and Sam, oh yeah, when like you work on a piece of art or like you write something and then you put it away, and then you read it again or look at it again after a while. It's like that. And he says that picture's about 25 years old, or thereabouts. He notices the resemblance on his own, like she didn't even have to mention it. He said there was a Betty Hanscom, Hanscomb. That was before he knew, Maggie's mother. But he knew a lot about her back in the day. But she left Collinsport about 6 months after that picture, and then died 5 or 6 months later, and it didn't have any family. Oh, B-Chap's back, great. So Maggie notices, she's like, hey, isn't that the same last name as Burke's victim? And asks Sam to tell Victoria about that accident 10 years ago. And Sam's like, oh, it was a hit and run, that's all. So Burke and Roger and Laura were pals, and Laura was Burke's girl first. They got trashed in a bar. Burke insisted on driving, though he couldn't even walk. Then he said he wasn't driving, but he was too drunk to remember. And Roger and Laura testified that he was driving, and were married 1 week after the trial. So the sheriff phones to see if Burke's there. No, he's not. Hang up. That's when Burke just barges right in. Before Maggie can even get to the door, there it is coming, opening right up. So great, now he's here. And a shot of the Evans cottage for the credits. I did get through one more, nice. That's a good place to stop there at episode 60. We'll pick up on 61 tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow at the same time, 7 p.m. Then Wednesday and Thursday will be at Quite Frankly. Friday and Saturday we'll be here. At least that's what I'm planning on. So, yeah, that really sucks. I mean, I guess if you don't like Bill Malloy, he's off the show, but I never had a problem with that guy. He just seemed kind of good at his job, a little bit, sweet on Liz. Maybe he didn't. I think that's what it is. I kind of think the fact that Liz got away from him and he's always held a torch for her. Now it gets to the point where he can do something for the Collins family. I think part of his determination in that, like, no, he doesn't want Liz to get in trouble for something Roger did, but he's still thinking, like, well, I didn't get the girl, but at least I can do something for her. And getting all this trouble away from her is the best thing I can do. And he doesn't care about too much about Roger anyway, so it's nothing to him. But he realizes he's going to tear up a family, so he's a bit conflicted. But like Sam said, he's an honest guy, so he was going to do the right thing, whether it was bad for himself personally or not. Got to kind of respect him for that. It sucks for him. It did not work out. He seems like a good guy, just like honest, hardworking dude. Didn't cheat anybody. Didn't do anything shady or hurt folks. Nothing like that. Just did his job. Kept his nose down, and um, that's the way it goes. Though when folks die, it's never or get killed. It's never the person you want. It's always like no, everybody really likes him, or it's always the somebody who's like mildly not offensive, rather than like, say, whoever you might think the big villain on the show is. Like yeah, they got what was coming to them. Yeah, it's never that. It's always some innocent person or something like that. So it kind of like real life. But then David's going so far as to find out where he went into the water, because he's sure his dad did it. And again, because that crystal ball is there, are we supposed to think that he has psychic abilities? I kind of want to think no, because no matter what, David just hates his dad and wants to put any blame on him just because he hates his dad. So I really don't think David is necessarily psychic or just has any kind of extra, like, ESP or anything like that. He's always on the same subject, so of course he's going to think his dad did it. If he could blame Victoria for it, he would. That's what he tried to do with his dad's car accident. So I really am not leaning towards him being any kind of psychic. And as far as him like talking to ghosts, like, oh, they're my friends and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know, because little kids are more sensitive. Like, little kids and animals can see things that adults cannot, so that they're more sensitive to otherworldly things that just we are just not used to being able to see as easily as they can. So, is it just the fact that he's a little kid, and because of that, he's more in touch with the spiritual side? I think that's what it is, versus him having actual powers. At this time, I don't know. It could change. Things that evolve slowly. And then we have Roger saying, like, oh, I killed Bill and did all this stuff and was responsible for, like saying it just because that's what the other person wants to hear. That doesn't quite happen too often, but terrible time to say it. Your son eavesdrops. Stop having conversations with the door closed. That wouldn't work. I guess he just needs somebody to mind him all the time, just to keep him in his room all of the time, or keep him outside where you want him to be, because wherever you want this child to go, he's never in that spot. If you ever watched The Walking Dead, where's Carl? Don't ask his mom or his dad. They don't know where he is, because that kid's just wandered off somewhere. How did he last that long on that show? Spoilers. Oh yeah, let's end this on time. I forgot. That other show I go to, I don't. He reads a story, and I'll miss an episode, and then I won't know what's going on, and then it lasts for like 70 episodes. So this last one just ended. This is going to be a brand new story, and then, like, watch, I'm going to miss an episode, like 2 or 3, and not know what anything is going on. But I try to catch that stuff. But yeah, smash that like button right now if you haven't already. It helps out the channel. Not monetized, for your entertainment. I really do think it would be fun to just hover at 999 subscribers, just to, oh, you're so close to monetization. Like, I see that. Yeah, whatever. Still gonna do this. So yeah, I get to go live a little bit extra. I was low key expecting to be off, say Monday this week, and then go live for the entire rest of the week, the sort of way it went last year. But it's not. Oh, a beach chap, Kill Bill. Yeah, Uma Thurman is good in that. I like her. Like when they try to pretty her up, it doesn't work. So when you make her like rough, it works for her, and she's a good actress. Kill Bill was good. It was messed up. It's been so long since I've seen it. I've only seen it once. I saw the second one too. Yeah, that was wild. Very intriguing. The bride. It just weirded me out. Like she wakes up in that hospital, looks at her hands, and it can tell it's been like 4 or 5 years. I don't know how you do that. That always threw me off about that. That's really all I can remember. And like her punching the wall because she couldn't eat the rice. I did. Sorry, spoilers. I don't want to. I don't even remember what year that film came out, and so I don't want to spoil a film I can barely remember. But yeah, you guys are awesome for having a couple extra hours on a. Goodness, it's Monday. Yeah, it's the last week of the year. Last few days of the year, anyway, for me. So I'm glad you guys had some time. William Bill Cooper gets to 999 subs and then unsub 9 of them. Keck. I don't know if you can do that. That'd be kind of mean. I mean, I'm sure you get. I'm sure it's not right at 1,000. You probably get to like 1,050 or like 1,100. Then you get an email like, "Hey, we noticed that you hit this milestone." It's like, yeah, like a month ago, and now you're eligible for. Yeah. What else? We'll see. I'll jump that creek when I come to it. No, we keep the sub count low to keep the riffraff out. It'll be fine. Just whatever it gets to, we'll roll with it. So yeah, keep by me at a coffee at an arm's length. I don't know about them. I'll let you know if I hear anything else. But Venmo's still up. That's available. Dark Shadows is available for free on Tubi right now. Link in the description for the show and the channel. I'm on Dark Shadows at the beginning, but Dark Shadows no subtitle. That's what most people are familiar with. As much fun as it is to talk about this, I am super excited to finally hit like 209, 206, 210 and really get into the rest of it and like get to the episodes that are why I'm talking about the show on this channel at all. Oh, William Bill Cooper, great to be here with you. Yeah, thank you. It's great to see you. It's great to see everybody. Thank you for giving me a platform where I can see you guys. Like 4 days this week, so that's so cool. Thank you for being Frankly's, being subscribed, being awesome and based and sexy. So get some good sleep, get something to eat, smoke out on the balcony, watch some Dark Shadows. If you get into playing Minecraft, play Java. If you want to add mods, apparently that's easier than playing Bedrock. Oh, Nightcock says, thank you, Nikki. Yeah, thank you. You guys are awesome. So just take it easy for about 22 hours. We'll do the exact same thing tomorrow. Hopefully not the exact same thing. I'm hoping the audio lasted like in my last episode. I won't have to repeat any episodes. And then we'll get on with episode 61 next time. I went to go to said, see y'all tomorrow. Hang loose. Nice. Yeah, you too. Take it easy. Stay warm if it's cold. Stay cool if it's hot. Say no to AI. Keep your head on a swivel. Can't get to the end button. There we go. Thomas Collins says, thank you, balcony, many blessings. Nikki, you're the best. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you guys are the best for being, sticking by me through the technical difficulties and everything the last 10.5 years. So, love you guys again. I know I'm repeating myself a bit. Get in the middle of the shot like it's CGI. No. All right, and until next time.